Hello and welcome to SGDC, woo! Also known as Epstein Island. I'm your gamer host, James Epstein, and today we're gonna show you a lot of not safe for work stuff. Starting with Flan, who's gonna show off some skin. Woo!
Hello. It's not that exciting. I don't know. But I am going to show some skin. Several skins, in fact. Last week I talked about adding some skins to my Minecraft mod. The idea being that some of these are Patreon locked, and if you have Patreon, you can get them, and then you can join a multiplayer game, and you can have the better skins than everyone else. So, it's just a nice little incentive because it's nice to have something when you become a patron. So the skins are for my main. It's sort of like a modern weapons pack, but it's all. This is something I did last year, sort of rebranding it. So none of them have real world weapon names. They're all sort of alternate, similar names. There are other games that do this, but they're sort of broadly 3 different manufacturers. And this was just a way to get a nice theme and to get a bit more variety. And you can see that one of them, the purpley one, is like completely different to like the guns don't look like that. They're not that colour. So it's like using some of the Minecraft stuff, trying to make it a bit more, I don't know, in universe. I don't know, like just. I mean, none of this is in universe, but just like a bit of variety. So I'm going to go through like some of the things I've been making one by one. So the first manufacturer, I guess, is Flint and Cobbleson, which is it's a play on things like I don't know. There's all sorts of these gun names with 2 manufacturer names, and sort of like they're, I don't know, they seem fancier. So it's like this is your fancy upmarket brand, nice sort of ornate wood and stuff. So for the custom skins, I went with even more ornate. You can probably see that I've sort of molded a piece to stick on it and sort of added it to all 3 of them, but like I've had some help from Prototype as well with feedback and doing this, like improving my color palette and stuff. But I thought this was a nice look, sort of gold, fancy weapons. Up next is Fantech, which is sort of completely made up, like uses the phantoms, uses like sort of their weird sort of materials to make like high-tech weaponry. So for their custom skin, I went with something that's really techy looking, and so I came up with the Juiced skin. I'm not sure about the name, but I don't know. It sort of makes you think of like a Monster Energy drink or something. But yeah, I've got this sort of these curved lines and like bright green lurid stuff. And then I've got the third brand, which is sort of Hit Market, which is a play on Hit Marker, but it's like it's your, I don't want to say like maybe like American like Walmart guns, just like it's cheap, it's just whatever. There's no real massive theming. It's just sort of budget guns, just your basic stuff. So just I couldn't really think of something else to do that was sort of distinct and unique from the other categories. So some of you may have already seen one of them on Discord, but I came up with something very silly for this one, and it is a series of food gun skins. It's just, I don't know. Actually, the inspiration was, I don't know, I was just sitting in front of my computer and I couldn't really think of what to do next, and I looked over on the other screen and the lunch ping or dinner ping just said taco, and I was like, taco. And so I started with the taco gun, then the foot-long shotgun, and this one, as I was like making them, the foot-long shotgun, so I haven't animated them yet, they're not in the game yet, but basically there's no real like custom animation, it's just like the bottom piece of bread is attached to the pump. It is attached to the pump action, so it should sort of slide forwards, and the idea with the bucket of fries was that they are attached to the magazine, so you'll pull out your bucket of fries and put a new one in. But yeah, just having a bit of fun with it. So yeah, those are some fun new skins that will be in the mod soon. Hopefully I'll be like back here next week with a, hey, here they are in the game. Any questions? James, your hand was already up.
I don't know if this is possible, probably is, but have you considered adding, if it's not already done, adding functions to the gun where like you can use it to plant stuff or like cut down trees?
Yes.
Shit like that?
I want the mod to be a lot more varied. Like in the remaking it, I've taken what used to be sort of it's shoot and it's got a damage stat. It's now more like an action system, and you can sort of define all sorts of actions. So in theory, there's all sorts of things you can do, like placing blocks, destroying blocks. I have tested some of this stuff briefly, but I really want to do a whole pack that just explores all of the weird things you can do, because I kind of made the code, but then I haven't really explored all the stuff. Like I want to do guns that sort of shoot like the Half-Life 2 saw blade with the gravity gun, like shooting like those and chopping down trees. Placing torches would be really cool, to just be like a flare gun, but you're like just lots of fun things like that. So I got some plans. Yes.
Will there be a Pity Panna gun?
Potato voxels. There might be. I was kind of keeping it. I'm not really a modeler. I'm more into making systems for other people to work with. So some of these are not very good. But I kind of just wanted to do maybe like this. I've done 8, and I just wanted to do enough to sort of launch and say, hey, here's enough stuff to poke around in and enjoy. Pity Panna gun. Perhaps. It might be quite hard to show what that is, and it might not be like very popular outside of Sweden. I don't know. I'll consider it. Yes, bro.
Being that, the taco ping inspired this, are you hoping to manifest long sub sandwiches into the menu at Spelkollektivet by...
Well, we do have a lot of bread. So I think you could probably construct one of these if you were smart and you took Victor's bread and... Yeah, I don't know about like the little buckets of chips. I think that would be very nice, but very like a lot of work for Victor. Cool. Yeah. That's it.
All right, next up to show some skin, Mariana.
No skin, only bones. I'll jump right into it. So last week I arrived here on Thursday, and it's my 5th time here. I don't know in Spell, and previous time I was we released a demo, so right now I'm really like trying to start out with Corta 1996 again, but I also have like a side project that I'm just starting now. And so this week I've been setting up in the office. Belinda borrowed her desk, so I'm really grateful for that. And I first of all, like mostly worked on Corter this week, and I wanted to start with something that has a like big impact but is also really easy. So our apartments in Corter are kind of identical but have different color schemes and some like different style of furnitures, and what I started with was basically repainting the apartment to have a whole new apartment 9. And I'll just show like this was actually something I've done a bit before, like downscaling an image of a globe that I got off the internet and trying to hide the fact and like just painting everything blue instead of the other colors we have. And I just worked this week on also making the shelving fit better with pixel sizes of items we have, and we have a like 3x3 placement system now, and we know like a little bit better how it functions. And I think over the next week as well, we'll be making it less fiddly and more just pleasant to use the placement system. And for that, I'm figuring out like what are the standard sizes of shelves that we should have, because otherwise, right now we have just random. So yeah, working a bit on that, and here are some other scenes. So this I drew this from scratch because in the earlier iterations, the wardrobe has been so confusing and no one understands it, and it's just ugly. So I just made a new one for this apartment, and I probably will redo the other ones as well. This is just a repaint of something we had. It's just a repaint of something we had, and like slightly changing shelvings. It's just a repaint, and then I built this furniture piece. I don't know, I just cut out things and then like, I don't know if it would work as a real thing, but yeah, that was for Gortar, this furniture and interior design. And the second thing I've been doing, because I've been getting more into like, I think I want to do more illustration stuff as well in general, and pixel art. So I started making my own bootleg brand of tarot cards, I guess, which are not really tarot cards, but they're like inspired. So I have some, like I made some like frame thingies and like tried out like a couple of designs already, but I'm just like using it to explore my creativity and kind of do weird spooky stuff and mysterious. Yeah, still haven't figured out the font for the writing at the bottom. I tried papyrus, it kind of fit very well. I should maybe use papyrus just for like giggles. Yeah, and that's it. Any questions? Right.
With if you go back a few slides to the furniture you built, like this one.
This one?
With you kind of made this up from pieces, did you, that you had, or did you kind of design this specifically?
So for the other apartments, we have like fully like Soviet style like how do you call this? Like a piece of furniture that's just a whole wall of cupboards.
Yeah.
And I had that, I copied that, and I just decided, because this, like, basically this person living in this apartment is maybe a little bit more well off, so more like can update their furniture, and they have like different kind of taste. They don't want the like really chunky, like heavy furniture. Then I just started from that idea, and I kind of like basically cut holes into what was like wood, and then I thought like, how would this actually work, and kind of went from there. So it would be like a whole wall, but it's like I cut some of the pieces out and I made it more like open shelving than I had like a structure before, but this was like very much like opening it up.
Yeah, I suppose my question was eventually going to be, like, what was the thought process behind doing this, and are you making a departure from the kind of Soviet era kind of thing, and is that along the lines of your vision kind of with Korter, because you're obviously showing spaces, but I suppose you've just answered that question basically by showing someone's wealth or they're kind of distinguishing themselves from the old kind of era.
Yeah, I could like introduce this character a bit. They're like you can see already from this, like I started with this idea of like they're a map maker, and also like they're interested in art and photography and symmetry, although my style isn't very much not symmetry. I've been trying to make a little bit of that here, and kind of like having like a very specific artistic vision for their apartment, which is like corresponds to their personality maybe. And like for the other apartments, we also have like apartment 5 was like they've taken everything apart and are fixing everything because they're a fixer and a mechanic, and we'll have like another apartment who will also show their personality in how they like treat their furniture and stuff. So it's like it's just like based on a real world, but also like they're fictional characters, and they're like they have their own like lives, what they do in their homes. So yeah, they have free choice. Any other questions? Thank you.
Next up, Tapish.
Hi, I'm Teppich, and I'm gonna show you some trailers for our upcoming game Rainbreaker. First of all, Cat, that's Leo. He lives with my parents. He's cute. And this trailer was for this game, Rainbreaker. It's an anarchist power fantasy. This came out last year on Gamescom as our announcement. Yeah, and I've been working for 2 years on this. The project's been going 2.5 years, I think, with 20 other people. In Berlin and Ludwigsburg, we have 2 offices. So as you see, there's more. First of all, Cat, that's all Leo. So as you see, like you get to go into a dungeon, you kill a lot of these robot thingies. You get to kill the queen, hence the turtle regicide. And this is a trailer that talks a bit more of the behind the scenes. This came out like this.
Rated T for teen.
There you go.
There's so much dark shit happening in the world right now, and with Rainbreaker, we really wanted to create an anarchist power fantasy.
What that means is that we basically wanted to give the players to like smash apart an oppressive system with their controllers.
So at Studio Fizbin, for over a decade, we've been creating stylized and unique gameplay experience, but infused with socially relevant stories.
For example, Say No More was a game about literally saying no to exploitation at work.
A few years ago, we started observing the rise of right-wing politics, authoritarianism, and even fascism coming back.
We wanted to create a fantasy reflection of these oppressive structures, and that resulted in this anachronistic medieval punk world and art style where we blend medieval elements and modern punk elements and also a lot of sci-fi. We created this cool 2.5D art style which mixes together the best of both worlds of like 2D art and 3D art, and it allows us to do a ton of fun visual tricks.
During the run, you will be able to unlock the ability to take 2 javelins into combat. And what these systems allow us to do is that we can enable you as the player to find great combinations on how to use our javelins.
Each javelin has unique modifiers on it. You can unlock dozens of them over the game.
For example, you could use the tornado javelin to push a bunch of enemies together into a corner and then blow them all up with an explosive javelin. So you can get really creative on how you want to bring down this oppressive system.
We're going to do a bunch of devlogs and live stream throughout the next few months. So make sure to wish us this on Steam and also follow us on social media if you want to see a more in-depth look at the game and more gameplay and behind-the-scenes stuff.
See you there.
So yeah, as Rogue said, demo is coming up soon. We're currently at over 25,000 wish lists. So one of our artists made a little wonderful thingy. You can see Clef here. That's a protagonist. That's a little background. This one is a good one. Yeah. So follow us on Blue Sky if that's where you're at, and also Lost Cat. There we go. Thanks. Any questions?
What do you do in the project?
I'm the associate tech director, so I code and I talk about coding a lot.
What is the cat's role in the project?
It is purely there for motivation and does not get a salary, which is a crime.
So you're the ones oppressing the cat?
The cat does not follow any regime. The cat just exists. James?
Have you heard of a game called Negative Nancy?
I have not. What is the game?
It's a game that was developed in the house at the same. You guys released your saying no game similar to theirs, and it just felt very much like, wait, these two games just happened. Like the whole thing of saying no in a game like that just happened at the same time.
Are they also one button or?
Yeah.
Oh, cool! I didn't know.
It was just a cool coincidence.
I'm going to check that out. Erasmus?
Yeah, I remember you talking about the non-violent options were in the game. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Where are there non-violent options?
Oh, was I mistaken? Never mind that.
That is very much not this game. Yeah, this game is smash the oppressive system. There is no negotiating with those people.
Mistaken it was something else. Never mind.
That's cool. Yeah, nice. Brian?
I'm not sure if you can answer this, but is there a plan to release this game into early access or it's a full game? Keeping in mind games like, I see an inspiration of Hades in there, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But obviously they did a lot of early access kind of work on that game. Or do you know if you're planning on doing a full release with this?
Yeah, I mean that would have been one of the directions to take it. We're not going to do that for this game. What we're doing is a demo very soon, and then a release just right after, basically. Yeah.
So the game is shown as like openly political as
well. Oh, yes.
So I wanted to ask, like, has there been any people like from internet, the lashback or something like?
Yeah. We already got some awesome YouTube comments, but yeah, obviously we are in that space. We have something to say in that space, which means we will get the usual answers from some people, but. On the other hand, there was also like one of the first questions that we got asked on the Steam community place was like, can we smash fascists in this game? Which, that's awesome, of course. Yeah, so back and forth. I mean, it is very much that space where there is a lot of controversy, but we're taking our stance and we're thinking that we need to and we want to. Anybody else? Down there. Sorry.
Yes. When are you planning on releasing? Like full game?
I cannot say that right now. I'll tell you when, or when I can tell you, basically. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
It sounded like it was soon. It was am I wrong or?
I'll talk to you on the mic.
This feels weird to have it soon, but also not for you.
Steam says coming soon, so.
Actually, it's dropping tomorrow. Tepich said it. He whispered it to me. It's tomorrow. No. Next up, Joshua.
Hello. Super cool to see another 2D isometric game that totally has never seen Hades before, also in the house, so that's very nice. Yes, I'm Josh, for those of you who don't know me. I work on Dice Gambit. It's on the wall, made by the house, with 3 people. And we're closing up the game, so I'm making the first part of the final boss, and I want to talk about it. As always, there's some golden requirements. We're fighting that guy, and we want that to be an exciting and dynamic boss fight. It should embody his personality, which is he's one of the main characters of the game. You met him a lot, he's taunted you a lot, so we want to have that be reflected in how it feels to fight him. No new art assets, or very few. We get a model, but the rest I'm trying to do in a very repurposed fashion. And then we want to introduce some mechanics that are going to be used of the part 2 of the boss, which I'm not going to show today because it's not done. And lastly, it's setting in a high-rise office, and I have 3 weeks, but I've done it over 2. The premise is he's a coward. He's like, for anybody who doesn't know, he's the Elon Musk kind of very big tech entrepreneur that is actually useless, that you need to beat. Shared ideals, perhaps. So he's going to flee a lot, and he's going to summon enemies and hide behind those. He's going to use a lot of the tech abilities, which is a set of abilities that you're going to learn in the game, so teleportation and damage over time. And lastly, he's going to be infected by chroma, which is the evil stuff of our universe, and we're going to incorporate that into the later part of the fight. And the idea is very simple. He's going to teleport away, summon minions. You're going to fight the minions and corner him, beat him a bit, then he teleports away, escalate the fight, and repeat. So we started by doing some very ugly sketches of what the shape of the level could be. Maybe it's 3 wings, maybe it's a circular thing. Then I do a bunch of shapes in the editor, and lastly I land on the layout in the bottom mitten, and then you see a rough level at the bottom right, which is just kind of the shape testing that this works. And then we begin making attacks. His main premise is whenever you hurt him too much, he goes not fun, and then he teleports away and summons a bunch of things. We don't have a model for him yet, so that's why he's a woman on this. That's for another boss, but things. And the idea is this kind of resets the fights and adds a more dynamic reaction, since this will happen in the middle of your turn in a turn-based game, because I should beat him down to health. So we found that for boss fights, that makes them feel more reactive and engaging when at the middle of the turn, they'll go in and be no. Now I'm doing something. And the other main mechanic is what we call plasma burn, where he deals damage over time. The idea is this stacks up on the player more and more and more, and it will stack up infinitely. And this, you can't really avoid it, but instead you can pay dice to turn it off. Since this is a dice-based game, we roll dice, we use those to spend them, and that should create a really interesting decision for the player of when is it time to waste my precious resources of doing other things during my turn to instead cleanse this damage, and maybe I can save it for the next time. And since you also have a blocking mechanic, you can also choose to spend dice to block instead, but that only pushes the problem down the line. And this is a central gimmick of the fight, is to play around that and have the player have some very interesting decisions, hopefully, around that. And this is one of the 2 attacks he does every turn. One is he just applies a little bit of damage and plasma burn to all your characters, kind of providing a baseline of pressure and attrition to the fight. We think a lot in terms of attacks, what does this ask the player to do? And here this is specifically enabling the plasma burn mechanic and asking players to be hey, all your characters are always taking damage. When are you going to do something about it, and what are you going to do about it? His other attack he will do is he will target a player, and then he will send a big line pushing them all back and applying a lot of plasma burn. Again, similar thing, it puts a lot of pressure as one of your characters, asking you to figure out how to, putting pressure for you to either remove that function or do something with that. It also encourages players to kind of spread out, and it embodies a little bit his personality because it also hits his minions. So there's something you can play around where if you stand next to enemies, he might also kill his own dudes, and I don't know, I feel like that's something a Elon Musk type would do. As you progress into the later half of the boss fight, he begins being chromatic. That's the evil stuff, and he will begin using another set of attacks, which again, all should create some kind of response. In this case, he's beginning to summon these crystals, which creates a shield around him, making you forced to now dual your attention span of both having to deal with him, but also now you have to go and hunt down these crystals and kind of hit him and break them to hurt him. This is also a mechanic that is the gimmick of the next part of the boss fight, so that's why we're introducing it here, hopefully in a safer space. You kind of get exposed to it, and we can go ham with it on the part 2. Likewise, he applies a bomb on you, which is going to explode. And this bomb will deal damage to you and everything around you and apply that same debuff to everything it hits. So it really encourages players to spread out with their characters, again, adding another dimension to the fight, and gives you a cool opportunity where if you put it on enemies, they're gonna explode, and then they can like kind of ripple on each other. And this is something else we found in like a turn-based game, at least that is very fun, is like making the boss and enemies have attacks that you kind of can use against them. So this is one example of that. I didn't really have time to record it exploding, so you just get to see him applying it. And lastly, he causes his henchman, who's really on your side, to summon enemies that you have been capturing during the game to use against you. And again, providing another strong enemy that you kind of have to dual threat in the fight. And yeah, that's the boss fight we're making. It's almost done, and after making the boss, we kind of finish up the level, and that's what it looks like. Any questions? James?
Question from the chat. Are the minions going to have a fanboy jumping in front of Elon to catch bullets so I don't get hit?
No, the actual idea for this is that he has weaponized some delivery androids, like some delivery robots that you use to help do Amazon deliveries, because at this stage he's trying to replace all humans with just robots. So that'll be the idea, and they'll happily jump in front, but I don't think they'll take any bullets. Yes.
Is it hard to hide Alexei when his outfit is so high vis?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Like
Color. It's high vis.
like he's got he likes to hide, but he's also got this like all of his
Right.
outfits, shine.
I think when I say hide, it's mostly he's going to be far away and hiding behind the enemies. Like, the player will always see where he is. But you could say that, like, given that he makes sure that his entire level is in his colors everywhere, then he might be hard to spot out amongst all the noise. Yes.
You were saying like he uses a special family of abilities.
Yes.
Do your like player characters use the same kind of things, or like do they use something different?
Yeah, so that's like a little bit of context I'm kind of skipping over. The way our game works is there's three major families that you are engaging with. It's like this like neo-Renaissance kind of thing. Again, another shared thing, where each of these families are things you befriend and later probably also challenge and fight in some capacity. And each of them gives you classes that have abilities that are flavored in their way. And we then use those same kind of ideas for abilities in their fights later. So in this case, yes, you have a class that's all about teleportation, and you have a class that is all about applying plasma burn and dealing damage over time. And now you have he's taught you that throughout the game, and now you get the final fight and he's using those tools against you, and you go, that was not how it meant to go. And hopefully that's kind of cool. It's also a very effective way. Like, this is the only reason why I can make a boss fight like this in 2 weeks without any art help, is because we've already made all of these assets and animations for the player characters. And all we need to do is like use them in a more exaggerated way, along with like giving him a custom model so he feels like unique. Yes.
Is the boss fight also, does it have like some kind of like, I don't know, grand finale planned, or like what's the like?
Yes.
What's the feeling in the end that you want the player to have?
So this is something we still, and we have like our darlings that we hope to make. But definitely, all of this is without the story, but there's a lot of dialogue happening in between at the start of the fight. And at the end of this fight, he turned full monster, and he swallows into a portal that you have to go after him. And we have a second phase that is like halfway prototype, where he's turning full monster, and it's a completely different fight. And at the end of that, my dream is that we have two endings. We have plans for, but we'll see if we get there. And one ending will kind of reward you for all the good deeds you could have done throughout the playthrough, and the other ending will perhaps leave you a little bit ambiguous about whether or not this was worth it. But it's hard to go into now without like ranting for like 2 hours about all the lore you have in your head, right? So I'll leave it at that.
That would be fun.
Yeah, but I really hope to do it, but we have to like release at some point because there's like a roof or something.
I love the motivational quotes that are there. Was the inspiration like corporate offices, because that's what they remind me of?
Yeah, absolutely. So the premise of the game is that people are turning into monsters, and nobody knows why. But the places where people are turning into monsters are where people are most oppressed. So one of the main areas of the game is the office high-rises where everybody's working, where there keep being outbreaks of monsters. And they have lots of motivational posters like those at the top of the mountain didn't fall there. So that's absolutely the intention. Thank you so much.
Alright, next up, Johanna.
Hello.
You are visible here.
I'm visible. It's okay. Okay.
Your whole face is visible, to clarify.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Johanna, and I'm working on Frog-like. This game. It's on Steam. It's out in early access, and yes, you can go there and buy it if you want. And last week we updated the game with a new storyline, and I got some feedback after about this icon. Oh yeah, so I'm presenting what I did this week. And so I changed this icon. Flan said it was a bloody mess, or it looked like a bloody mess, and I thought it was funny. So now I keep repeating it, and I'm not sure he likes it. And but yeah, so I made it a little bit clearer. I made the ingredients because yeah, the reward for achieving this is that Kermit, this frog, learns to cook. So he's using these spices to make this fly tastier. And I hope it's a little bit clearer in this picture, but I don't know. It's okay. And then for the rest of the week so far, I've been working on sound. I want to give the bugs some sounds for the 6 different types of bugs we have. So I've mostly been working on the wasps, the flies, and the mosquitoes this week, and I've mostly been doing research so far. I don't really like making sounds, or I don't like finding sounds and just listening to stuff. I prefer crafting the sound like from the start. So I built something inspired from this. It's found it in an old video about Jimmy McDonald, I think his name was. He worked on a lot of old Disney movies, and he had a huge library of stuff that he used to make sound. And this is to make fly sounds. So I made one. Oh, one thing broke later. So I made one. It doesn't look the same, but I'm gonna show you how it sounds. I had a lot of fun with this today. I hope I can make it work now. So yeah, it needs some fine tuning, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So that's how I make the sound part of this, of making the sounds. That's how I make it fun. And I also made another thing that was meant to sound more like a wasp, maybe, I don't know. I haven't had time to practice using this one, so I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to, but so yeah, it's been a great day. Thank you. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to today. And then for the last point of my presentation is that I'm leaving on Monday. I need to go work again. So I'm going to the Philippines to record a Swedish reality show, and I'm recording the sound, so that's, yeah, I don't know, I don't like working with sound that much because it's my real job, I guess. But yeah, so I'm leaving early on Monday, so yeah, probably say goodbye to everyone this weekend, and I will be back in the beginning of April, probably like around the 8th, maybe, something like that. Any questions? Yeah.
have you tried using the like fly noise machine as like an instrument?
No.
Because it sounded a lot like the 2001: The Space Odyssey intro.
Ah, I see.
It has potential, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Yeah. But
Where did you go to record these sounds?
I haven't recorded them yet because it's been taking me all day to use. Like I found this and then I searched the house for all the parts I needed to build it, and I went to IKEA to buy ice cream for the sticks. So I have ice cream if anyone wants some. It was 12 of them, so I only needed 2. But yeah, so I didn't record any of it yet. I will record it tomorrow. Yeah. Remy.
Do you plan to record more bug sounds in the Philippines?
Where I am in the Philippines, I'm right in the middle of like a tourist place. So there's a lot of traffic and a lot of just people around. So I don't think I will be able to record any bug sounds in there, but maybe we'll see. It's usually not a good environment for recording where I'm going this time. Remy.
Yeah, follow-up question. Because you're recording for TV, right?
Yeah.
So what about the city sounds? Is it happening somewhere else then?
Yeah, that's out on remote islands. Usually we go 20 minutes to an hour away with a boat every morning. So it's very remote, and yeah, but it's at day and it's not as many bugs. And sometimes like there is this really big wasp like bugs that sound a lot. I've tried to record them many times, but it just doesn't turn out as well as I hoped it would. So yeah, I'm making my own wasp at home. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
The fly sounded suspiciously much like a sound I'm very good at making.
Yeah. Sounds a little
Next up, Casper.
So, I'm Casper, creator of Outlaw Kingdom with Xavier. And it has been 1 year of development today, pretty much. This is gonna be some chunky loadings. This was the first model we made of the bandit. We changed it to be this beautiful person instead. And then we changed it into having these type of characters. We kind of wanted like the, what do you call it, the shape of the different species. So we made this beautiful thing. And then we made the factions for each of the outlaws. So this is the elven faction, the human faction, which is pretty much cultish. Then we have the dwarves, and the warband, which is well, they're unique because they have 3 different types of sizes and species. And yeah, just because I could. So, of course, this is an auto battle game. So we of course need to actually do some auto battling. So when we finally actually had that working, we of course needed a beautiful world to inhabit. We used a lot of time trying to make this run on not that great machines, and we finally found a way to, make it run. So this is the first iteration of it actually working. And next up we needed to actually do so you can look at the abilities. Another thing we quickly found out is when you have a lot of units running around and there's a lot of trees and bushes, is you need the way to see them through. And then we did it so you can drag and drop and actually hide them in the bushes. And then we of course needed someone to rob. So our game is probably the opposite of Tapas. Here you play as the bad people, robbing and killing. And we made the patrol system, and you can now ambush and attack and steal and imprisonment. And of course I made a devlog that didn't go as wild as I was hoping. We made the overworld, and we have a camp system up and running. And I have a lot of UIs that I'm not showing because I want to actually playtest it with people. So we kind of wanted to see what happens if we don't actually fill out all the information. Can people still figure out the game? Because we made a lot of UI, so we kind of hope that people can play the game without actually having to read it. Not sure if that's a good playtest, but yep. Questions? Chris?
Are you gonna have like a separate session or like on the Friday playtesting events, or how are you going to do it?
Not sure. Yes.
I want to know the secret behind making the large detailed map work on, not powerful hardware.
Low poly, and depending if you don't care about size of the project, so it's you can either sacrifice how big the game is, like size-wise, or you can sacrifice in how low poly you make it. You can do something called imposters, but that pretty much tripled the size of the base game. So it was a little like, ugh. That was one way we did it. Of course, LODs. GPU instancing. Yes.
Who made the awesome water shader?
What?
Who made the awesome water shader?
The asset store.
Very quick development.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
What?
Love that guy.
Yeah. He's a great guy. I think it's a guy. Oh, one more.
Can everybody be a short, burly, bearded person?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Thank you everybody joining us in the house and online to Epstein Island. And yeah, see you next time. Bring your swimming trunks. Bye.